to Golf Training Hacks. You know, if you can't rotate through impact, several things can happen. If you can't rotate at impact, if you can't get your hips through the impact point, how are you going to keep momentum? As you're coming from the slot and into impact, if your hips don't rotate, you're going to cast or flip at the ball to keep momentum. What you really want is when you, on your downswing, you're going to be compressing down and opening up 45 degrees into impact.
And one of the problems could be just learned motor skills with the hips.
That's true. I mean, it may be a technique issue. You may not even realize you're doing this. But more than likely, it's a hip mobility and hip strength issue. You need to have internal rotation when you're driving into this position. In order to be able to turn your hips 45 degrees out to the target and keep your shoulders square, this hip has to internally rotate. Also, to stop any kind of sway laterally, your hips need to be strong. Don't forget, you're doing all of this while you're rotating at a high speed. So in this video, we're going to give you 3 exercises that are going to help you improve your internal rotation so that you can get those hips open 45 degrees at impact. So let's get started. Hip internal rotation is critically important for your golf swing. In this exercise segment, we're going to go over a hip capsule mobility drill or technique. And we got this from Dr. Kelly Starrett. We followed Kelly for a very long time. He doesn't know us, but we sure know him. If you really want to learn about mobility, I would check out the Ready State and Kelly Starrett. It's a fabulous website. There's all kinds of information on there. Okay, so this is going to be a hip capsule mobilization. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show it from the side first. And my shoulders are square to this mat. I'm not going to change that position, but what I'm doing is kicking this foot out and then blocking it with this foot. So my shoulders stay square, and I'm going into internal rotation on my left side. Now from the front, my shoulders are going to stay square here, and I'm going to put this foot out and block it here. Okay, so that's the position I want to be in because this is hip internal rotation. So what I'm actually doing is, when I do the technique, I'm actually driving my femur or my thigh bone into the ground, pressing my knee into the ground. I'm pressing and turning into hip internal rotation. Okay, so I'm pressing into the ground and I'm turning, and I'm not collapsing back like this. So I'm going to go on a little bit of an angle here, and I'm going to go into internal rotation. I feel that hip capsule wound up, and now I'm going to press my knee into the ground and turn into my left side. So I'm just going to press in, I'm pressing my knee, and I'm turning into my left side. I'm pressing and turning, pressing and turning. Okay, so if you go like this, I lost that hip internal rotation. That's why you have to stay square, and you're going to feel that hip capsule winding up. Now, I'm not collapsing like this. I'm driving my knee into the mat, trying to get my thigh bone up through my hip, and I'm pressing and I'm turning into the left side. Okay? And you should be breathing when you're doing this, in and out through your nose. Okay, so that's a hip capsule mobilization. Improving rotational capacity in your hips can be pretty simple. It can be as easy as just rocking back and forth. Let me show you what I mean. So what you can do is simply get on all fours. You can have your feet like this or like this, head up, and what you're going to do is just rock back and forth. So you can put your head that you want to look back and you want to look up. You want to look under through your legs and you want to look up. The wider you put your feet and the wider you get your knees, the more stretch you're going to get. You look down, you look up. Look down and look up. From the front. So in a push-up position with my shoulders, I'm going to look down. I'm going to look up. Just rocking back and forth nice and easy and breathing. Breathing. In and out through your nose. So that's a basic rocking pattern. It's really good. I mean, you go where you can. If this is all you can get to, And if you sit a lot, you know, maybe this, and you're kind of stiff in the hips, maybe that's all you can get to, and that's fine. Wherever you can get to, you get to. If you can go all the way down, that's even better. But it's up to you. You go where you can. So basic rocking is a great way to begin to open up your hips. Hip internal rotation is critically important to the golf swing. So this is hip internal rotation on this side, right? That's hip internal rotation. So we can get some movement in our hip capsule by doing a rock into our right and left side. So if you recall, a basic rocking motion, if you've seen our video on that, is simply this. You're looking up and you look down. You look up and you look down. So what I'm going to do is, instead of going straight back like this, instead of going straight back, I'm going to look down. As I come up, I'm going to look up and look to the ceiling, and I'm going to shift my weight onto this shoulder. I'm going to continue to look to the ceiling, and then I'm going to sink back into this hip. Okay, look up, rock straight back. Look up, find the ceiling, right? I'm sinking into this hip. Okay, so it looks like this. Down, look up, sink into this hip. You can stay on one side, you can alternate. Down, look up, and now weight's on this shoulder, and I'm sinking into this hip. So here we go. And I'm breathing. And as I'm going back, I'm looking for the ceiling and trying to find the wall. So I'm getting some head and neck movement in this too. Look for the ceiling, looking for the wall. I'm on this hip now. Find the ceiling, through my legs, up, find the wall, back, through my legs. Internal rotation is really important. Opening up your hips is really important for your golf swing. And doing that type of rock is a great way to do it. Now you go to where you can. If you can't move your head too much, you keep, just go to where you can. And if that's all you got, then that's fine. If it just looks like this, you get a little at a time. Maybe you can't even go back that far. A little at a time. And actually, just getting up and off the floor is really good for you too.